The plant kingdom. So far, we have focused on mostly unicellular plants. In this chapter, we will discover more complex plant systems and structures. Nearly all plants are autotrophs. We learned in Chapter 1 that autotrophs are organisms that make their own food. To make their own food, plants use a process called photosynthesis, where carbon dioxide gas and water are used. Plants are multicellular and often much larger than unicellular plants. Their cells are organized into tissues, groups of similar cells that perform a specific function in an organism. The cells of the plants are enclosed by a cell wall which surrounds the cell membrane and separates the cell from the environment. The cell wall contains cellulose, which makes the walls rigid. This rigid structure gives the cell its boxy look. Inside the cell walls, there are many necessary structures. The chloroplast is where food is made. It looks something like a green jelly bean. The vacuole is a large storage sac that can expand and shrink like a balloon. It stores water and waste and food. When the vacuole loses enough water, the plant begins to wilt. What do you think? Are animals autotrophs? How do you know? As you know, for a period of time all plants were underwater. In order to live on land, many adaptations had to occur. All plants had to adapt in order to obtain water from soil. Once they have the water, plants must retain the water. To avoid evaporation, plants have a waterproof layer called the cuticle that covers the leaves. To transport materials through their structures, plants use vascular tissue, which is a system of tube-like structures inside a plant. Water and other nutrients move into the plant, and nutrients and water move from one part of the plant to another through these tube-like vascular tissues. In addition to transporting nutrients, vascular tissue is also used to help support the plant. Without the rigid structures, plants would not be able to stand against the force of gravity. Finally, all plants must reproduce. All plants undergo sexual reproduction that involves fertilization. Fertilization occurs when a sperm cell unites with an egg cell. The fertilized egg is called a zygote. Think about the answers to these questions and make sure you have answered them in your notes. What do plants need to survive on land? Where do plants get water and nutrients? What plant adaptations reduce water loss? What is vascular tissue? Scientists generally group plants into two unofficial groups, non-vascular and vascular. Non-vascular plants lack a well-developed system of tubes for transporting water and other materials. They are low-growing and do not have roots. They obtain water directly from their surroundings. Most are only a few centimeters tall and live in damp, shady places. Moss and liverworts are two examples of non-vascular plants. Vascular plants, on the other hand, are better suited for life in dry places. Their well-developed vascular systems allow them to find water and nutrients from the soil and provide support to the plant. These plants are able to grow very tall. There are three classifications of vascular plants: seedless vascular plants like staghorn mosses, gymnosperms like pine trees, and angiosperms like apple trees. Seedless vascular plants reproduce by making and spreading spores. Gymnosperms reproduce using seeds. Angiosperms flower and produce seed that are surrounded by fruit. Think about it. What are the two major groups of plants? Why are non-vascular plants short and low to the ground? Why do non-vascular plants live in damp, shady places? Why can vascular plants survive in a greater variety of environments than non-vascular plants? And how do angiosperms differ from gymnosperms? We are almost through this section, just a couple more slides. But first, we must understand the plant life cycle. Plants have a complex life cycle with several stages. A plant that you can see is considered to be in the sporophyte stage. It produces spores, and these spores are spread. The spores are then transformed during the gametophyte stage. In this stage, sperm and egg cells are reproduced. Sperm cells and egg cells are joined to form a zygote. The zygote then develops into the sporophyte, and the cycle continues. For a better and more detailed and easy-to-follow plant life cycle, please refer to Figure 8 on page 111 of your textbook. Draw this diagram into your notes. And one last time, I want you to think about it. Which stage involves sexual reproduction? How can you tell? Thank you for following along. Please write down any questions you have and bring them to class tomorrow.